Oh, you got two of them, just to be
Pick everybody up.
cautious. Yeah. Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. We do have a commissioner who's on his way, but we can go forward without him at the moment. Our ballot procedure will be as follows. The candidate list is compiled first by office. If you got one of these on your way in, it's filed by office and then by filing date. The ballot positions are drawn in this order of the list. Candidates who attend are invited to draw first. And then, even if their name, pardon me, even if their name is not in the first order on the list, if multiple candidates are present, filing order will be used to determine which candidate will draw first. A candidate may send a representative, and I don't know if any of y'all are representatives or not, but you may have a representative draw in your place. However, candidates in attendance take precedence over candidate representatives. A candidate or candidate representative may draw one time only, and if neither candidate or candidate representative is present, the Election Commission will draw from the barrel, official ballot draw bowl. And we'll proceed with that. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate it, and we will begin with the Democratic candidates for federal U.S. president. And the order that we have at the moment is Joseph R. Biden Jr., Stephen P. Lyons, Marianne Wilson, Armando Perez Serrato, Frankie Lozada, and Dean Phillips. Do we have any candidates here from that poll? None there. All right, so would you like to draw first? Or do we have any representatives from this poll? Okay. Then we will go ahead and draw one for Joseph R. Biden Jr.
Position number 4.
Okay. And welcome.
Thank you. Sorry for being late.
No problem. Steve, you would draw for Stephen P. Lyons,
Okay,
candidate for president.
all righty then. Position number 1.
There you go.
One. Okay. Boy, you got here at the right time, didn't you? All right.
Hit the jackpot.
Marianne Wilson, Commissioner Deichler will draw for her.
Number 5.
5. I'm going to let you sit down, Jim, and you can draw for Armando Perez Serrato.
Position number 6.
Okay. And candidate Frankie Lozado.
Position number 3.
Dean Phillips.
Dean Phillips. Position number 2.
Position 2. So let's go ahead and say these again. Joseph R. Biden Jr. is position 4. Stephen P. Lyons, position 1. Marianne Wilson, position 5. Armando Perez Serrato, position 6. Frankie Lozado, position 3. And Dean Phillips, position 2. Are we all on the same page?
Yep.
Okay. The next one is the Republican candidates for U.S. President, and the candidates are Vivek Ramaswamy, Donald J. Trump, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Doug Burgum, Ryan L. Binkley, Asa Hutchinson, Chris Christie, David Stuckenberg. That's all of them. Do we have any candidates present? Do we have any representatives of these candidates present? Okay, then we will draw. Jim, will you draw for Vivek Ramaswamy?
Vivek Ramaswamy, position number 3.
And Max Donald J. Trump.
Position number 9.
Oh, that's a 9. Wow. Ron DeSantis is the next draw.
DeSantis, position 6.
Nikki Haley.
Position number 5.
5. Doug Burgum. Didn't he withdraw?
He's
Yeah.
still certified to our
Okay.
candidate list.
Okay.
Position 2.
Ryan L. Binkley.
Position number 8.
Asa Hutchinson.
Position 4.
Chris Christie.
Position number 1.
And David Stuckenberg.
Stuckenberg, position 7.
7. I'm not going to review all those. If there's a question, y'all can ask us. All right. We'll move on to the Republican offices. The first is Congressional District 3. The candidates are Congressman Steve Womack and Senator Clint Penzo. And I see we have a candidate. Oh. Position 2. You can keep it if you want.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, okay.
Thank you. And do we have a representative for Congressman Womack? Nobody. That's all right. I thought you were probably here for that.
I like the rigged part of this. What is this? One.
There you go. All right, thanks.
Yeah, we saved those.
We
Saved the
don't
county
have
money.
many.
Fiscal responsibility.
Okay, then we have state candidates for State Representative District 24. The candidates are Ty Bates and Brad Hall. Do we have a candidate? Do we have a representative? All right. Ty Bates.
For Bates, position number 2.
Position 2. Brad Hall.
Position number 1.
Position 1. Okay, moving on to the county. We have Justice of the Peace District 1. The candidates are Ophelia Seipert and Bradley Bruns. Mr. Bruns? Position
number
2. Okay. Thank you. and Ophelia Seipert. That's my district.
Position number 1.
Position 1 for Ophelia Seipert. Okay. County Constable District 1, we have John David Duggar and Tom G. Clowers. Okay. No candidates, no representatives. John David Duggar,
Position 2.
position 2. Tom G. Clowers,
Position 1.
position 1. Okay. Constable District 3, the candidates are Joe M. Maynard and Kyle Woodruff. No candidates, no representatives. Okay. Joe M. Maynard.
Position number 2.
Position 2. Kyle Woodruff.
Position number 1.
1. Okay. And now we move on to the nonpartisan judicial elections. State Supreme Court Chief Justice, position 1. We have Supreme Court Justice Barbara Womack Webb, Supreme Court Justice Rhonda Wood, Jay Martin, and Arkansas Supreme Court Justice Karen Baker. Anybody? All right. We'll draw for Supreme Court Justice Barbara Womack Webb.
Position number 3.
Okay. Supreme Court Justice Rhonda Wood.
Position number 2.
2. Jay Martin.
Position number 1.
1. Arkansas Supreme Court Justice Karen Baker.
Position number 4.
4. Okay, State Supreme Court Associate Justice, position 2. We have 2 candidates, Judge Carlton D. Jones and State Supreme Court Justice Courtney Hudson. Anyone?
Nobody?
This is for Judge Carlton D. Jones,
Position 2.
position 2. State Supreme Court Justice Courtney Hudson,
Position number 1.
1. Boy, we're burning through these, y'all.
Right?
Okay, for State District Judge, District 2, Division 1, 2 candidates, Taylor Samples and Mark N. Scalise.
And they are both here.
They're both here. All right. You're first, Mr. Samples. Thank you for showing up, y'all. We feel honored to have you. Position 2 for Taylor Samples. Here, let's get rid of that. That better be position 1. Position 1.
If not, we've got a scoop.
Thank you. All right, the last office, annual school board candidates for Siloam Springs Zone 1, Heath Nance and Alicia Williamson. No one here? Okay. Heath Nance.
Okay,
Go for it.
this over with.
Yeah, I agree.
Position number 1.
Position 1 for Heath Nance, Alicia Williamson,
Position number 2.
position 2. And with that, we have drawn all of the ballots that we have, or all the positions that we have, and we appreciate your coming out for it. And those will be on the website before very long. go ahead and move on with the minutes from our previous meeting. Have y'all had a chance to look at those?
Let me look real quick.
We're running behind today.
I feel ya.
We're not in any rush.
Good.
I guess we are, actually. Did he say they have a meeting at 10 o'clock in here?
I don't know if they had a meeting at 10 in here or if they
Oh.
had a meeting.
Okay.
But either way, we
We'll
should
be
be done.
Okay, yeah, we should be done by then.
Yeah, those minutes look fine to me.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, the minutes will be accepted and filed as presented, and we'll move on to the March 5th, 2024 preferential primary ballot layout. Do you already have something for us?
We do.
Wow.
My team has
I'm
been working hard,
impressed.
yes.
This is it right here.
Of course, this morning it was a mad dash to
Get it all done.
redesign
Yeah.
everything from what we did yesterday.
Oh, no.
Why?
Okay. So, what you have in front of you is the Greenland City 1
Okay.
sample ballot, both for the Dem, rep, and nonpartisan, judicial.
Okay.
The first thing was the school board candidates. There was a question about putting unopposed school board candidates on
Oh,
the ballot. And we share a school district, Springdale is in Benton and Washington County.
Right.
And the layout of the ballot is, if they were putting the school board candidate on there, should we put the school board candidate on there
Oh.
for consistency's sake?
Yeah.
However, I was looking in the school election portion of the law this morning, and there's a portion of the law that says very clearly that they shall not be placed on the ballot.
Oh.
So unopposed school board candidates won't be on the ballot because it's very, and it is for the preferential primary and general election.
Okay.
So, we
Good.
won't have unopposed school board candidates on the ballot.
Okay.
The other part was unopposed candidates, so for the nonpartisan judicial general, which we have the district or division, District 2, and then there's 2, 3, 4. It's like Tara's seat and Graham Nation's, and those are unopposed.
Okay.
And one of the state Supreme Court and one of the circuit judges are unopposed.
Oh.
It is their general election, but I don't think, and for consistency's sake between this ballot and what we do for the primary, I think that we, instead of placing their names on the ballot, we'll do what we do for the general election, where we're required to put, if you'll see right here, it says unopposed candidates, kind of at the end of your ballot. And it'll just say, Debbie just typed that verbiage in real quickly
Yeah, I was
this
gonna
morning.
ask if that was
It
official.
is not the official, but
That's the,
for one
what
and
is
one
it, the
for all.
Musketeers?
it is. We had to put,
I like it, actually.
we had to put something in there, so it was
Catch
just a
people
real
by
quick,
surprise.
placeholder.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
basically, we'll do what we did for the general election, where we says unopposed candidates for all
Oh,
offices
yeah.
shall be declared and certified elected without the necessity of including
Mm.
those names on the general election ballot, and then it says for all unopposed candidates.
Okay,
This is what we
perfect.
did for the general election, where we're required to place that on there. We would do this at the very tail end of our ballot for the primary election. This would satisfy the requirement for nonpartisan judicial candidates.
Sounds
So we've gotta
perfect.
put that, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But we don't
that's fine.
put, so no unopposed candidates' names are going on any ballot.
Right.
so, okay, now I'm gonna complicate it again.
Oh,
Okay, so unopposed candidates for state treasurer, state senate, state representatives, JP districts, and constables all go on the primary ballot. So those names will be included
even
on
though
the
they're
ballot.
unopposed.
even though they're unopposed.
That was that bill they passed a few years ago?
Yes.
I forgot they included JPs and constables
Yeah.
I
in
know.
that. I
But
knew
it's-
the state rep and half
So,
the Senate,
but it's only for the primary. When we get to the general,
They're not on there.
the JPs and constables will drop off the
Okay.
general ballot.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yes, if you'll look on the Republican, or the Democratic Greenland City 1 ballot, you'll see there's Justice of the Peace 14. And Ashley Lee Hicks is just listed there by herself. U.S. Congress District 3, Caitlin Draper, their names are listed by themselves.
Yeah.
On the Republican ballot, you'll see the same thing with the Senate District 29 and State Representative 23.
okay.
I've got to say, I'm confused.
Well, yes,
I don't know about the rest of these folks.
I have a handy dandy little cheat sheet
Oh, there you go.
that
So,
tells me
what
what
are,
we're supposed to do.
Okay, the law is telling us that we may include them or we may not include them.
So for,
Shall not, shall or shall not?
so for school board candidates, they shall not. And it, there's no, if they use the term may, then you have the option, but
Right.
here it is in green.
They
There.
specify pretty clearly who
It
goes on the
does.
ballot, who doesn't.
So for school board
Not placed
candidates,
on unopposed candidate for school district director. For school district director, during a school board election held concurrently with the preferential primary election or general election.
so,
But it only specifically says for school
Speak into
district.
the mic.
And I don't even know if my mic's
It's
on.
on. It's
Okay. It only specifically says, if I'm reading this correctly, the candidate, unopposed candidate for school district director.
yes.
Is that
So,
a school board
Yes.
member? It's the same thing as a school
Same
board
thing.
member? Okay, that
Yeah.
language was not something I understood.
yeah. And then there's.
Why?
Beyond the scope of this proceeding.
Yeah, really.
It is very, I will tell you, it is very confusing, because in an
Yeah.
odd year, they go on the ballot, in an even year,
No.
they don't go on the ballot.
Oh, God.
It,
Yeah.
yes.
Wow.
I'm
Well,
sorry, I'm just,
We had feedback
Already
on that
frustrated
bill.
with
We
that.
were involved in that bill when it was passed
Really?
at the time.
That's right,
Yes,
yeah.
we
I
opposed
forgot.
it because we didn't want to make ballots too long. We had issues with people being in there voting, taking a long time to vote for a bunch of unopposed races that you were listing on the ballot. And then same thing with absentee ballots, right? It may bump it from 1 to 2 pages, then
Yeah.
it's a higher cost, all that. So, but we didn't,
Yeah,
they passed the
we
bill
were not.
anyway, and I guess this
We
is
were
the
not
result.
successful.
Yeah. And then nonpartisan judicial candidates are treated in a different manner, because this is their
yeah.
general election.
Right.
So they're in a different portion of the law book. And then the primary candidates are treated differently.
I'm just gonna have to trust that you got this right. But I'm gonna say this, I think our legislative folks need to address this situation. I really like this language that we put in here, all for one and one for all. You either do or don't,
I love it.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, put that somewhere as well. You either do or you don't.
Okay, thanks.
I'm wondering, and I know this may be unnecessary, but I'm wondering if, because you do have people from time to time who come up and say, well, my candidate is not on this ballot. And they're automatically thinking, you gave me the wrong ballot. Is there a mechanism where we could just post a list of all unopposed candidates? at each polling site?
It is, it's in the
Okay.
notice of election.
Oh, okay.
So it is posted our poll workers have access to it, as well, but it is the list of candidates.
So the supervisor can say, go look on that list.
Right.
And you'll see your candidate is not opposed.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
mean-
that would answer it, I think.
Definitely, I agree.
Yeah, until one of them says, well, look, this guy over here is unopposed and he's on here.
I know.
Contact your state legislator. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go see
No,
your
I agree.
legislator.
I agree. I
Yeah.
mean, these ballots look fine to me.
Yeah, I do. I think they do. Obviously, they have to reorder
Yep.
Right,
according to
and
the
we'll,
ballot draw.
we'll do all of that. The one thing we did do in anticipation of the general election, you'll notice our instructions. In previous elections, that, at the very top used to be quite large.
Right.
And a ton of empty wasted space. So as we were working through the ballots yesterday to try and keep this to a front page ballot, we, reordered that in order to make it smaller so that as we are laying out ballots, we're not wasting space. The school millage, even though there is no change in the school millage, is still required to be on the ballot. And then the city of Greenland will be holding a special election. And so these are what we anticipate will be. They haven't finalized everything, but we've been working under the assumption that they will.
Yeah.
We did, for Greenland, they're the only place right now that is having a special election. We put the special election before the school election, just simply for the layout of the ballot. Since on the school election, there are no candidates and their millage isn't changing. So that way it comes first before that.
Sounds good.
Okay, now I'm noticing on the Democratic ballot, St. Uyghur is on there.
We did these before, we did this before we didn't get the certified list until like
Okay,
4:30
okay, and he's
yesterday.
not on this
So really for this ballot, what I wanted to bring your attention to was the layout, the instructions, and the unopposed candidates. This has not been proofed,
Okay,
candidate names,
Gotcha.
anything like that. So really it's more about the layout. Do you
It's
like this?
a sample.
Yes,
Okay.
the direction of the ballot.
Okay.
And really to get a consensus about the unopposed candidates, how exactly we want to do those.
I think they look good. They're real clean. Good job, Debbie. And do we have any ballots that are going to push to the second page?
This is our biggest ballot.
Oh, good.
So this is the smallest primary ballot we've had in a very long time.
Nice.
So yes, so everything will be just a front page ballot, which is really nice.
Super, yeah. Wow, that simplifies things.
The other thing we did too is, if you'll notice under federal offices, it says Democratic Party. State offices, it says Democratic Party, county offices. I know that seems repetitive, but in order for us to, on the express vote, to get that to appear if it goes to a different screen so voters know that they're aware that this is a Democratic ballot or a Republican ballot, this is the best way for us to do it. The other option would be to put Democrat or Republican below a candidate's name, and that is too repetitive.
Yeah.
This looks
Yeah.
fine.
So,
I think this looks really good. Jim, your thoughts?
I think it looks good too.
Well, then I would say proceed,
okay.
and we'll come up next week with the actual ballots, huh?
Yes, there's a caveat to that, in the sense that December the 27th is the last day for a city or someone to call for a special election. I have not heard from anyone else besides Greenland, but I am going to ask for the commission to go ahead and approve the ballots on the 12th. knowing that if the 27th comes and goes,
Yeah.
we're good to really start LNA. If there is somebody that files for a special election, then certainly I will call the election commission back to approve that ballot set.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah, that,
Because it's so close into the holidays.
Yeah,
I-
just
I
get it approved. You can always modify
Yeah.
it before
Yeah.
the deadline.
yeah. All right, well, then we will proceed and we'll wait with bated breath to see if anybody does something before the 27th. Okay, early vote sites for the preferential primary.
So this is the previous information that we have looked at
Oh, yeah.
in the past elections. The other supplemental data that's with it, this is, because right now, I'm focusing on the primary, what sites we have open on the primary. It's just the voter turnout for primary elections by site, by day.
Okay. Back to 2016.
Yeah, it goes all the way back to 2016. And then I've got just one, a sheet from 2022 that kind of shows a breakdown of each day
Oh,
by party, the voter turnout. And that,
Okay.
of course, but typically primary elections see a lower voter turnout than the general election.
Well, especially when there's not a whole lot of
Exactly, yes.
things to vote on, right?
The interest doesn't seem to generate the same.
Right, and we have days that are extremely, kind of extremely slow.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I know we have talked about which sites to have open on which days, and then especially in our limited early voting. But first, if we wanted to take a look at our normal sites, the sites that would be open for the 2 weeks.
Okay.
They would all be open Tuesday through Friday. We don't open that Monday, it's a holiday. And then on Saturday, we would have, the one is available for Weddington. And then Elmdale, Tawnytown, Elkins, Prairie Grove, and West Fork. I do have American Legion in gray. I don't necessarily think that we would need it open on Saturday since we do have a site open in Springdale on Saturday. Plus, we also have Tawnytown open on Saturday as well. And then, of course, we would have Elkins, Prairie Grove, and West Fork. They do have very low voter turnout at Elkins and West Fork on those 2 Saturdays. But I think if, for that first Saturday, that would be just a decision for the commission to make if we wanted to go ahead and keep them open. One of the things, I know we had talked briefly about closing some days. Snow, I got to,
Right.
if we have a snow event and we look at maybe shutting down one site for a week, what if it's the week that we had the snow event is the opposite? Then there would
Oh,
be no
yeah.
early voting out in that area. So for instance, if we were to look at Elkins and say, their voter turnout is not that great at Elkins during that first week, maybe we should just be open the second week. But if we closed it the first week and then there was a snow event the second week,
We'd be in trouble.
it would definitely limit the amount of voting that they have. So that's just something to think about as well.
That's true, but what, 131 voters for week 1 in 2020 at Elkins, right? I mean, snow could
Right.
happen, but
Yeah.
the odds of it actually snowing for the whole week and shutting it down, I should knock on wood saying this, but for these weeks to really shut it down for a week, I feel like is somewhat limited. I don't know what the percentages are of us getting snow up here, but it used to happen more than it does now.
I can go either way on that.
I mean, I guess it depends. Look, it's all how we want to spend the county's money, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you guys feel strongly about keeping those, what had we talked about? Elkins and West Fork?
Elkins and West Fork.
I mean, if you guys feel strongly about keeping them open for the first week, 131 and 132 voters
Right.
for the first 5 days at each specific site. If you guys want to do it, I'm fine with it. I don't really care,
I'm the same way.
but at the same time, I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure it's the best trade-off for a small election to have those sites open for a whole 2 weeks.
Is that type of, those types of numbers, does that historically true for those sites that they're low? I mean, I see it historically looking at 2020, yes. But is it similar, 2016?
We
So-
never did them in 2016. We opened those two, because you can see they don't have any numbers on 2016.
Okay.
We opened them for the first time. We were gonna try them and see how they went, and then,
So, we tried them, the public has seen them open once then in
Yeah.
this period of time.
yeah.
And they haven't seen it the second time.
Yeah.
And they haven't had a chance to grow the numbers.
Well, they've seen them on 2 elections, 2020 and 2022.
Right, yeah.
So they've seen them for 2 cycles,
Okay.
but 2020,
But
I guess,
only
is
one
closest to
presidential.
presidential,
Yeah.
yep,
Right.
yep.
In 2022, the number was 198 at Elkins, and they had 198,
Oh, that's over here.
and then West Fork was 215.
The first week? Mm-hmm. So they improved compared to the previous election. I would probably oppose,
Yeah.
closing that first week.
Hey, if
Okay.
you want them open for 2 weeks, that's fine. I just think of it in terms of a cost per vote
Right.
type of trade-off,
Right.
right? I mean, that's really where I'm thinking, and I haven't done the numbers, but, it's a balance.
Yeah.
But I don't think, the sample size is important, and I think right now, if we're looking at, we opened it, to see if it would, be of value. I don't think 1 or 2 times is a fair way to, look at sample size. What we can say is that the sample size went from a low number to a higher number in each case. Then we have 2 samples to look
I mean,
at.
there just aren't many voters. There aren't many people who live out there. There's
Right.
never gonna be a whole
Right.
lot of voters who
Okay.
ever vote at that location.
Yeah,
But if you
we're
wanna
not-
keep them open, I'm fine with it. I
I
don't feel
think
strongly
maybe-
either way.
On Elkins, the Saturday, you have a breakdown on the number of votes that came in on Saturday the first week?
One year they had 0 voters on the Saturday.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And they've had 17 in 2020, and in 2022, they had 9. So if you wanted to keep them open during the week, but maybe not open on
Drop on
Saturday.
Saturday.
I'd go with
For Elkins and West Fork.
Yeah.
I could go with that.
What, at either one of those sites, do you have to break down over the weekend?
So I do need to revisit with the city. I did talk to the supervisors at Elkins, and he reminded me that they do have a food bank that meets there. I need to confirm what date. It kind of fluctuates, so I need to see when it falls within our week of early voting. But typically, we don't.
Okay.
So keeping them open like Tuesday through Friday that first week, and then being closed the Saturday, and then the next week, Monday through Friday, which would be the norm.
Yeah.
I think that would, the voters would still get the opportunity to vote, but we wouldn't have those 2 Saturdays where the numbers are so extremely
Yeah.
low.
Yeah. I think I'd be inclined to do that. And, it gives us a third time to gauge the numbers. And you know, down the road, we can say, this is just not generating the kind of response we'd like to have.
Okay.
And I don't know, Prairie Grove, I don't know if you want, if you're looking at Saturdays, I don't know. That is over on that side of, I mean, on the
True,
opposite side
yeah.
of the county. But their numbers are, in 2022, they did 28
On Saturday.
on Saturday, and in 2020, they did 26. And then in 2016, they did 12.
Well, that might be the, review that we need to do is the Saturday, you know, the Saturday numbers and, whether that, I mean, is it typical that we've always opened on a Saturday or had,
For Prairie Grove, since it has been open on Saturday.
I mean, just generally speaking, is it something that we've always done is have voting on the Saturday of the first week? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So that, you know, I think it's fair to look at Saturdays and see what we've done, and if it's, you know, just a handful of voters, somewhere typically, on a regular basis, we may want to consider that.
Anything else to point out here, Jennifer?
So if we were to, so Prairie Grove, like I said, their numbers were low, and then, let me look at, I know Tawny Town, like I said, though, it was, they did 12 voters in 2022 on Saturday. Covenant did 19 on the first Saturday. The courthouse, even the courthouse did 48. Elmdale did 41, and West Fork did 14. I think it's in part because it is a primary election. I think your numbers for a primary just aren't always there. So
Yeah.
if you look at all of the places, the quorum court we have to have open. That's
Oh, yeah,
non-negotiable
sure.
on that one.
Right.
But if you look at all the Saturdays, they're all really low.
What if we just, as a general rule, drop Saturdays except at the courthouse?
If you look for, let me look.
Well, I'm looking at this column for 2022.
On
2020 is, I guess, the best one. Tawny Town, actually in 2016, Tawny Town had wasn't open on Saturday,
Right.
I guess.
Right, it would have
So
been
Tawny Town was
Arvest.
closed.
Oh, that's right, Harvest.
Elkins had 17 in 2020. Yeah. Prairie Grove 26, is that right? Mm-hmm. And 188 in Quorum Court, and then West Fork. Is it West Fork?
West Fork's at
I'm
7.
looking. I'm trying to follow this line back.
Yeah.
West Fork's at 7.
I mean, Quorum Court and Civic Center both had okay numbers that day
Where's the Civic Center?
In 2020.
in
Yeah.
2020.
So you could do Elmdale and the courthouse.
That would leave one in Springdale and one in Fayetteville for Saturday.
Yep. That's fine.
I think that's good.
Let's do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. You want to make those changes? Any other changes, Jennifer? I mean,
So,
from what we talked about last time with these?
can I go to the second Saturday real quick before I go down to the limited early voting?
We're
Sure.
second Saturday on.
Right here.
Yeah. So we would just do the courthouse and Elmdale again? Okay. And this is just, for the primary. I want to
Right, yeah.
be
definitely.
very clear. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So then when we get to,
I mean, unless you think the second Saturday is gonna be busier.
I still don't think Tawny Town, see, even when we were at Arvest,
it
it
looks
was
like-
never available to be open on
Right.
Saturday anyway.
Covenant Church did 127 in 2022. 2020, it looks like it was closed on the second Saturday.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that's worth keeping open.
Weddington?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think if you want to keep Elmdale and Tawny Town, that's fine. If you want to cut Tawny Town, that's fine.
And then that way there's 4 sites open the second Saturday.
Yeah, that
which
looks
is when
good.
people are more likely
Yeah,
to vote.
keep them
Okay.
all open. Sounds
All right.
good.
Okay. Then when we get to the limited early voting,
Okay.
I would have us have because once again, this is just for the primary. For the Fayetteville Public Library, we would be open Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The same thing with the Springdale Public Library, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Rise Physical Therapy, which would be Friday and Saturday, so there would be one other place
That's
open
right,
besides the courthouse, but it's only available
Yeah, 2 days.
those 2 days.
Okay.
When we get to the second week, the Alumni Center would be open Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That Thursday, they have some type of
Oh.
event. So I think Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is appropriate. I do think for the primary, maybe if we're looking at doing Nazarene as an additional site, I think if we're closed on Monday, that allows us to set up on Monday for
Okay.
both Nazarene and the Civic Center.
Yeah.
And then just keep both of those open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and maybe not have Nazarene open on Friday.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And now, when we get to the general, and these sites just like perform, their numbers are never gonna be like amazing.
Right.
But if we see the performance, there's no reason we couldn't add
Yep.
additional.
I mean, look, I agree. We're second time talking about all these days and times, which is fine, but for the primary,
Yeah.
We're
it's a
talking about-
low turnout, and the general, totally different animal.
Right.
Yeah,
Right? We all
different
want to
animal.
have
That's
more
right.
days, more locations, more times open for the general.
Yes.
Totally agree.
So, and I think that makes messaging easier. Hey, these 2 extra sites open in Springdale are open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the library in Lincoln would be open Thursday and Friday. And then Sonora, Thursday and Friday, and then Farmington, Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
I do think the Farmington site is going to be the site for the general
Yeah.
that we come back to
Oh, yeah.
and look to add.
You think
Yeah.
it'll
I
do
do.
pretty well?
I think Farmington will be the site.
Good.
Where I think we'll get a good turnout. The crew from Sonora, were excited. They're, they don't know what to expect, but they're looking at Election Day. And that's always the goal, is how do we reduce the pressure on a particular site Election Day?
Yep.
I think that this will definitely help
Doing Thursday and
Sonora
Friday, yeah.
on Election Day as well. And Farmington, yeah, that side as well, because we know it worked in Lincoln.
Looks good. What do you want to do here? you
Do
want
we
us
need to approve these?
I think we can approve this I will make this up with the actual names of the
Yeah.
sites.
Okay.
The dates, and then have a document for the commission to approve.
Okay.
Rather than just kind of trying to approve what we've scratched out and
Yeah.
everything, and with the actual addresses and names.
Okay.
But are we all in agreement then, though, for what to prepare?
I think you've done a good job. I think the amendments that we've made here are they'll save us some maybe aggravation overall for the amount of voters that will be there, or that we can project. We never can know for sure how to project it, but yeah, I think you've got a good job here.
Jennifer, when you have the final data that you're gonna present at the next meeting, could we get it ahead of time?
So you
Yes.
can look
Get
at it, yeah,
A look at it?
yeah.
Okay, thank
So that way, if there's something I've missed,
you. Yeah.
or you want to take a second look at,
Well, it's just confusing, with making changes and
That's
not,
right.
and really not knowing. I haven't done a good job taking notes while you've been talking, to tell you the truth.
It's okay, me neither.
Same here. Well, yeah, let's get that ahead of time, and
Okay.
then if we've got any questions, we can reassess on the 12th.
and we're still within the deadline.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even with what I present on the 12th, if you have
Okay,
had a
okay.
total
What's-
change of heart,
What's the deadline? Is that-
January 5th.
Okay,
So,
I was thinking it was next year,
Yep.
early. Is anybody gonna be around on the 5th? Okay, so we have that. Next item is election day sites. Special election and election day sites. So what are we,
so this would really just
Colored
be,
sheet, yeah.
yeah, it's this one, election day information. It would really, we've discussed this previously, but adding American Legion in as an election day site. And then for Awakening, though I don't have it reflected here, it would be switching that polling place to the Goshen Fire Station, which is right next door to it. That would be the only changes we are making to election day sites.
okay,
And
What did you just refer to, the Goshen?
so number 3, where I have it as Awakening,
Uh-huh,
we're actually going to switch buildings and be in the Goshen Fire
that's
Department.
the one we went and looked at.
Yeah, which is the one just right next door to us, to
Okay.
the Awakening building.
Okay,
okay.
And then, other than that, even my small sites, I have crews for, Evansville and Ray's Mill. I've got confirmation back that we'll have crews, for those places. Sometimes that's the, tricky part. And then I'll prepare a document, unless there's other requests or changes, that actually has the names with their addresses and all of that for the commission to sign next week as well.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
what is the growth column?
That shows the number of registered voters from the
Okay.
previous year.
Okay. Had a significant reduction in Sang,
Yeah,
Sang side,
they kicked him off the voter rolls.
did they?
Remember,
yeah.
yeah, it's the voter purge the Secretary of State's office
Okay.
does every so often for people who haven't voted in 2
Right.
federal elections in a row.
So that was
More sporadic voters,
it-
probably.
is that because is that in the neighborhood of the university, is that,
Sort of by the new police station south
yeah,
of that.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that area.
The other one that's surprising too is the Oak Grove
Oak
one.
I know,
Grove,
I was
yeah, I'm
looking
just
at
looking at
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
A lot
That-
of commercial expansion going on
That's
there,
true.
not
I
a lot
guess
of,
so, yeah.
not recently, not a lot of homes and that type of thing.
Okay. This is good information to have. You've got 4 places in yellow.
Those were the sites where I noticed a significant increase in
Okay.
voters,
Okay.
which is on Weddington, Farmington, Prairie Grove, and Tawny Town.
Okay.
That's where that's kind of where the county
Growth.
is seeing the growth.
Yeah,
It at least reflected in the number of registered voters.
Right.
okay.
So
Nothing that we need to be concerned about, I
no,
guess.
but I do think that's where the Farmington early vote
Right.
Yeah.
is actually going to be a benefit for us. We have early vote in Prairie Grove, we have early vote in Town, and we have early vote in Weddington. So of the 4 places, we'll now have early vote or opportunity in all 4 of those growth areas.
Good, okay. All right. What else? Is that it on that? Other business, gentlemen? Do we have any?
Nothing for me.
Our meetings that we have coming up are,
December the 12th.
December the 12th.
Well,
Do we have something scheduled on December the 21st? We don't, do we?
We did, but we don't have that election.
Oh,
So
that's
the
right.
12th is the only scheduled meeting we have for December.
Okay, are we going to be at the election offices?
Yeah, we'll be at the election offices, and at that meeting, I'll have a calendar for you
Oh,
for
good.
January, February, and March.
But we don't
Of
have,
meeting
we don't
dates.
have anything on the 21st.
No, we do
Nothing
not.
on the
I'm
21st.
deleting that from my
Yep.
calendar.
And you may have one on the 14th. Did you have
14th of
December?
December? No,
Okay.
thank you. Keep me straight.
Do you want us to
I
sign
would
this?
if the commission would sign one of the,
Yeah, let's do it.
you might compare and make sure mine matches. If they would sign one of the ballot draws, that way we can file that with the clerk's office.
Perfect. Well, I don't think I could sit here and listen to that forever. That would get real annoying.
know.
I'm gonna give you back all this stuff. I'll just make a mental note on the,
And I will get the website updated
With
to
the
reflect the
candidates.
candidate
Okay.
orders and remove, since we
Super.
now have the certified list, remove any candidates that were on there
okay,
that shouldn't be on there.
super. Yes. Anything else, fellas? Ladies, anything from y'all?
So,
All right, we are adjourned,
cool.
Thank you.
and we will meet at election headquarters on December the 12th, 9 a.m. Super.